Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
The underdogs. Hey, here we are.
Happy Wednesday. This is the first time in show history that you pulled up after me.
That's crazy.
I think so.
I never remember that happening.
It is crazy. I got here just in the nick of time.
Fresh from a haircut, it looks like.
No, last night, but close enough.
Wow. Yeah, I was like, man, I've never seen Bull pull in after me.
I know. It was very late.
That was very impressive.
I'm almost late.
Bull was wearing
You're not late until you're late.
That's true.
So
you're
good. Do-rag. It looks like your hair's laying down good.
Do-rag.
Do-rag Bull.
Yeah,
Busy
do-rag on
show.
earlier.
Leroy Hoard, Shaun King, both going to give their expert analysis on Week 1 and look ahead to Week 2 on the Browns. We're also going to dive into other issues for the Cleveland Browns. Also, I think it's justified. You know, they're right there in the thick of the wild card race. We're going to talk about the Guardians and their unbelievable starting pitching. Bull. These kids have just absolutely turned up the last 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's funny because I haven't been interested in talking about the Guardians much, but I think it's now time for a couple of weeks to at least have a few minutes on them every day.
Sure, they might sneak in.
They might. They still have they're now up to over a 10% chance to make the playoffs as of this morning.
You're telling me there's a chance.
They have a 0.4% chance. I'm sorry, a 0.8% chance of winning the division and a 0.4% chance of getting a bye in the first round of the playoffs. They go 18-0.
Yeah,
you never know.
Stranger things.
You know what?
Happened.
Who knows what will happen in these final 18 games? But we did the Ultimate Guardian show this morning, and Zach and I, thinking about what could be in this month, we were reminiscing about the 2013 season.
Very reminiscent.
Right? They won.
Yep.
They won. I think they were 20.
Was it 22?
20 and 6, 22 and 6.
I was going to say 22.
And they won their last 10 in a row.
They went nuts.
And I remember, and I described this as my welcome to Cleveland moment because I had only been here 2 years at that point.
Right.
And all the teams were pretty awful when I first got here.
Sure.
But the Guardians, I was at the game. I think it was the last week of the season. I think it was like the 4th or 5th or 6th last game during that winning streak. And Jason Giambi hit a walk-off homer against the White Sox.
I remember that.
There was like 10,000 people in the stands.
They all went nuts.
But we went bananas. Everybody was hugging. We were high-fiving. I'm like, this is awesome.
Welcome to Cleveland, Bull.
That was great. And then, of course, they ended up playing the wild card against Tampa. Danny Salazar was the starting pitcher. And he pitched well, but they lost.
I like Danny Salazar for a
Didn't
moment.
they lose to the Rays?
They lost to the Rays,
Shout out to the Guardians. Y'all must have been listening. Everywhere I go, y'all keep having fire Guardians hats. I don't know where this came from.
That is a good one.
This right here, this is called the black on black special right here. This is crazy.
Now, are these team sanctioned?
Is that a new era?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You ain't got this one at home. Y'all don't have. I don't know. You really got to go to the Underground Railroad to get this one. But you got to knock twice. Harriet,
Harriet, I need 2 of those black on black joints.
Give me the 2 of the black on black. She's like, what's the password? And no, you can't tell that joke unless you got 2 black people on the panel. So
we only have one today.
Yeah, one today.
I'm holding it down for Tyvis in memory.
Dustin and I count for a half each.
No, Dustin actually counts.
3/4.
Yeah, he's 3/4 because he got massive amounts of Jordans and he played
That's true. I got the 23andMe papers to prove it. Everybody always laughs when I say that, but my grandparents both came here from Italy, Sicily, which you know is a boat ride from North Africa.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the line,
hey, y'all get real dark in the summertime.
Cross-pollination.
Yeah, there you go.
So enough of that. McNuggets, move us out of here.
On to the
it's a beautiful Wednesday. We got our first, I believe it's our first Shaun King Leroy crossover.
Yeah,
which
it's about to be crazy.
I feel
like we did it once last year, and we kind of said let's just keep Shaun or whoever was on first on, and we kept them on for like 10 minutes together.
I was looking for it. I couldn't find it.
I feel like that
didn't happen. We do a lot of shows, so a lot
One of them complained about the other one stealing their time. That's why I remember it.
Oh, you're right. Shaun King was mad that Leroy
shut up. Leroy's had his time. Let me have mine.
I mean, it is hard to get Leroy to stop talking.
Right.
Let's be honest.
That's why we love him. That's why we love him.
But we're going to get those two on the show. We're going to talk some offense. We're going to talk some defense. We're going to talk some special teams. We got it all covered. And we're going to wrap up the show with some Guardians talk. But guys, let's dive into our first topic. It's brought to us today by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. Because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible, reminding us to go that extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and keep the game moving forward. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning, and just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda machine. Mazda, move and be moved.
Mike, just a couple of things real quick for you, because I just saw this. Kevin Stefanski speaking. A couple of things he said. They are officially sticking with Andre Schmidt for week 2, and Quinshon Judkins is not with the team today. There's rumors he's meeting with Roger Goodell today, but not surprisingly, Kevin Stefanski will not confirm or deny that. He is expected to be back with the team tomorrow.
Of course he is. It's like sneaking in the house too late. You try to creep by your mom and dad, and that bedroom door be closed.
Can I make a suggestion,
real
though?
quick.
Like, why doesn't the commish talk to him on Tuesday?
That is weird.
Like, why are you going to pull him out of a day of practice?
I don't
Tuesday
understand
is
that.
the off day. Everybody knows that.
Why didn't he talk to him for the last month?
If that's even true. If that's
Forget
true.
Tuesday,
yes.
Jay. Why haven't they talked to him already? He was doing nothing.
Yeah, I had some conversations with some people. I brought this up about a month ago on the show, only because a legal friend of mine had mentioned this about like when does the penalty come down? And I had just not flippantly, but because I had thought about it, said on the show, I don't even know if they can suspend him yet. He's not officially a member of the NFL.
So maybe they couldn't talk to him until he signed?
Well, my legal friend said, I don't know how they operate, but that makes absolute sense. He doesn't have a signed contract with an NFL team. They're going to wait until the contract is signed. Okay, even if that was the case, the contract was signed last Saturday. You know what the schedule is. Get him in there on Tuesday. Get the face-to-face over with. Instead, he wastes his Tuesday, off day, doing nothing, and then on a day when he should be practicing, getting ready for his first game, he's off the handle.
That is weird.
Justin, are they dealing with a different NFL than we know, or because?
I know they do things on their time.
I mean it's not on our time.
No, I get that. I understand that, but use some common sense.
I mean, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't
like
care.
you can't treat this man as if he's guilty until you know he's guilty.
No, they do that. So
I know they do.
Yeah,
and that runs contrary to everything that we know.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is off topic. I'm just going to say this for 60 seconds because I've been wanting to get this in for a long time. Major League Baseball screwing this whole Guardians investigation up. They are punishing the team and 2 individuals, and they clearly don't have anything on them yet. It's akin to charging someone and just saying, we're going to hold you in jail until we know if you're guilty or not. Like, they should be.
That is happening right now.
Yeah.
It is happening right now. I mean, they're being punished.
Well, I wasn't talking about them, but
You good for that? Yeah, you's a funny dude. Bro.
It's happened a lot.
Yeah.
It's happened a whole lot. But here's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with that. The Guardians are paying a huge price. I can think of 2 games off the top of my head that were blown by Cade Smith. Not to say that Clase would have closed those games out, but he came in the 9th and imploded.
Right.
Do you know what the difference of 2 games are in the standings right now? We're in the playoffs.
Yep.
And these 2 individuals have been treated as if they completely did it. And the fact of the matter is they might have. But in the meantime, it's like when a police officer is being internally investigated. Sometimes they pull them off the streets. And I know they're being paid, but it's punitive to the team. It's punitive to the players that they're being treated as if they're guilty when we've waited for 3 months now and we've got nothing.
I don't understand why there's. I think the league has to have some transparency here.
I agree with that. Tell us what you know.
It is really unfair to the fan base.
Yes, and I want to get that off my chest because it's been burning me for a couple of weeks and we haven't really talked about it. So enough of that. Let's move on to the Browns.
All right, guys, we'll dive into our first Browns topic. If you guys watched the Sunday night football game between the Ravens and the Bills, you saw an offensive display from both teams. And if you want to take these stats full, the Bills threw for 389 yards against the Ravens. They rushed for 108. Baltimore's defense did not record a takeaway. It did record 1 sack. On the flip side, the Browns did move the ball relatively well against the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Flacco threw for the 5th most passing yards of any quarterback in week 1. So, Bull, Do you think the Browns' offense, and particularly Joe Flacco, will be able to move the ball at the same relative ease they did against Cincinnati against the Ravens defense, or do you think the Week 1 performance against Buffalo is more of an aberration than an actual indication of how good Baltimore's defensive unit is?
There's about 17 things in that question alone that I disagree with. First of all, let's start with the number one thing. What you're doing with that question is one of the biggest flaws. No offense, Mike, because we all do this at times, and certainly this is prevalent throughout the media and throughout fan base.
You're loading up the question.
I just mean the overreaction to Week 1 in the NFL is
what else do I have to go off, Bull?
What's that?
What else do you want me to go off? Their preseason numbers? You want to go back to 2024?
There's the question, like, you're really going to compare. The Ravens gave up that yardage to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is if not the best quarterback in football, one of the best. You can't compare Joe Flacco to Josh Allen.
Didn't say no. The answer is no.
Yeah, then your answer is no.
I know that, but it's just that's all about, like, we always overreact. We, as fans, as media, we spend the 6 months of the offseason telling everybody what we think about every team in football. And then half of us change our mind based on one game in the regular season, which is crazy, when we know every year that Week 1 is the least predictable week, that things happen in Week 1 that are not indicative of what that team is going forward.
Right.
And that's it. And in the end, against the Bengals defense that is probably a little better than last year, but still not very good, even with the kicks, if they'd made those kicks, it still would have only been 20 points. I mean, it wasn't like the Browns' offense was amazing in this game. They couldn't run the ball. Yeah, they had, decent passing yard numbers. But, no, I'm not. The Browns' offense is not magically fixed now.
So your answer is no.
My answer is no.
In fairness to Mike, I see what Mike's saying.
Oh, no fairness to Mike. I'm busting his balls.
I mean,
I'm busting his balls, and that's part of this show.
I get it, and that's fine, Bull, but Mike has to produce a 2-hour show, and we can only go off what we have. We can't. We're not at Week 8. We're not. If we did, then we could say, well, remember back in Week 4.
Yeah.
But we don't have that. So I do think it's a fair question. I think it was a loaded question.
Oh, it's definitely loaded.
So that's a different story. But sometimes that's what we do in the media. It's also a double-barreled question. That's fine. Here's the thing. I think that Baltimore's defense does have some vulnerabilities, and I think that now can Flacco take advantage of those like Josh Allen did? I don't think so. So my answer is mostly no too. But I'm not going to be surprised if they put up 17 points. I'm not.
But that's not good.
No, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Especially when the Ravens offense, even though they're going up against a much better defense this week, is more likely than not to put up 17 points.
Are you sure the Browns are a much better defense than Buffalo?
I said most likely.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all I can go on. Again, we don't know. There's a very limited amount of hay in the barn.
Yes.
So you don't know what the harvest is going to look like at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have enough hay. We don't have enough sample.
That's right.
We'll begin to find out each of the next 5 weeks. Because
like
these are all
Tyvis's hair.
playoff caliber teams. So, yeah, right. So we're going to see. But I don't think they're going to completely shut this Browns offense down. I don't. I think there are vulnerabilities. And I trust that Kevin Stefanski will find them and match the skill set that Joe Flacco has to take advantage of that. I think we're seeing today's NFL and the passing game, and we've seen this coming for a long time. It's no longer the long looks downfield. Everything is short and underneath. I feel really well positioned right now that we have 2+ tight ends. I think the Browns have 2+ tight ends on their team. That might be more important than the fact that they don't really have a plus wide receiver. I don't count Jerry Jeudy as a plus wide receiver. I just don't.
I don't know how
I know you'll disagree with that, but last year he led the league in drops, and he had a critical drop on Sunday. I can't put him in the plus wide receiver category.
I love Harold Fannin, but he's played one game.
Right, again.
And you're going to put him as a plus? Jerry Jeudy had 1,200 yards last year.
Here's why. It's all I've seen of him.
I know,
but
that's
what
not
I've
fair,
seen
though.
of him, not just this one game, but last year in college, what I've seen of him, I made a bold statement on Monday. My wife even thought I was nuts.
That's true.
When I said, I think this guy, if he has a long career and stays healthy, I think he's going to exceed Ozzie Newsome's numbers. Now, there's two things to that. When you look back at Ozzie Newsome's numbers today, they're not eye-popping.
No.
Because the tight end was used in a different way. It was he and Kellen Winslow. That was it. But he was very, very productive and elite as a tight end in that era. Put him in today's era, he'd be 5th or 6th most productive each season. I see a guy that can eclipse that. And I think Njoku with Flacco has proven to be a plus tight end. So I think those two pieces with Joe Flacco, provided they stay healthy, I think they're going to be better than everybody thinks on offense this year, particularly, and another big if, Judkins comes back and produces.
So this week, I think the Browns will have a chance to move the football. The Ravens secondary, to me, is not that impressive. Their defense they're talented across the board. They've got talent, but I'm more concerned about their front seven. I think they'll be able to take some shots down the field. Kyle Hamilton's a hell of a player. Like he made a bunch of plays in that game against Buffalo. He's like the lone bright spot for that Ravens defense. But I think that Baltimore is probably going to be looking themselves in the mirror this week. This is what scares me a little bit is that Baltimore just got their doors blown off, giving up 41 points.
The wake-up call.
Yeah, and they had some moments in the game where they showed flashes, but overall, just not good enough. They dropped interceptions. They had opportunities. They had a point in the game where they had a couple of 3-and-outs and all that, but that was about it. And then Josh Allen could do whatever he wants. The problem I have with the Browns is that Joe Flacco can't move. And so Josh Allen presented so many different challenges for that defense with his ability to keep the chains moving. That is not going to be the case for the Browns this week. So I think there'll be opportunities, there'll be spots. If the Browns can just keep it close, man, I think they'll have a chance to spread. I think it's 12.5, 13 points, depending on where you look.
Went down to 11, I saw.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then that's probably giving the Browns a little bit more credit after the overreaction to week 1.
Yep.
But I'm with you, Adam. I mean, listen, it's hard because we overreact to everything we see. And that game was Sunday Night Football. It was a primetime game. The Browns, we know their defense did amazing things, especially in the second half.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting game. And look, at the end of the day, we're not going to still know what the Browns are going to be this season after this game this weekend. But I just hope that they can keep it close. And I'm with Jay a little bit, too. I think that the offense will be better than people think this year.
If they're close in this game, that'll be now 2 games.
Right.
Unlike
divisional opponents, too.
Right. And unlike the Bengals, who just, for whatever reason, don't play well against the Browns and for whatever reason don't play well in week 1, the Ravens don't have that issue. The Ravens, you're usually cooking right off the bat. So, and obviously their offense was fantastic last week. Because they scored, what was the final score, 41-40?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the only game in NFL history that's ended with that score. I can't believe it.
So weird.
One thing real quickly, I know you're fired up and ready to go. I'm fired up about this and forgot to mention it. What in the hell is Baltimore doing celebrating their 30th year return to Baltimore?
Oh, we're going to get into
when
it,
the
don't
Browns
worry.
are in town. Well, I didn't know if I didn't
into
see it on the topic list, so I just thought I'd bring it up. And you know what that is? That's we're the ones that are always bullied, and so we're an easy target.
Yeah.
So the Ravens, in their grand wisdom, sat around and said, "Oh, let's throw that party when Cleveland's in," and really rub their faces in it. I would hope. I doubt the players aren't playing motivated
probably
because
don't
they weren't
care.
here when that happened.
They weren't
But it
even
means a little
alive.
something extra for the fans, if that's possible.
I think Dustin has shown that he is in mid-season form. That was a good analysis of that. You can tell you've been doing games lately.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, you was in mid-season. I'm like, damn, that was good, man. I like that too. All right, I come off thinking about this, and it's crazy because all these games usually come down to 3 or 4 possessions. As much as we get fired up and excited about, you go back and watch last year when Jameis Winston was playing quarterback, right, against these same Baltimore Ravens, and it came down to a couple of plays. It was an interception that Hamilton had in his stomach. He dropped it. Came right back the next play. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Cedric Tillman, I think, scored a touchdown. Yep. The Browns in this football game against the Bengals, it came down to 3 or 4 plays. The drops, the fourth down stuff. So it is much as we know there's a deficiency in talent between the Ravens and the Browns, it's not as marked as 35 points or nothing crazy. The Browns are going to have an opportunity if they capitalize on the stuff that they can. If they catch the ball and they convert third downs and they're able to stay consistent, they'll be in this football game. Now, it comes down to, in the fourth quarter, they got Lamar Jackson. And when you got Lamar Jackson and you got somebody that can make things happen, then that's where they get the advantage. Also, I do think, like Dustin said, they're catching the Ravens in a tough spot. Like, they're catching them after they gave up all them points, all that big comeback on TV. And sometimes for teams like this that have Super Bowl aspirations, you want them to sleepwalk through most of the season, right? You want them to sleepwalk and take people lightly. But when they play a division opponent like the Bills, who also wants to be Super Bowl caliber, you want to be in that contention, they are coming in here with not playing games. Because now they're sitting there saying, if you're a Ravens fan, we seem to can't beat Kansas City. We seem that we can't beat Buffalo now, where we're giving up leads. There is no way, coupled with the fact that the Browns did sneak a game and win one last year, that they're coming in overlooking the Browns and it's at
2 years in a row?
2 years.
Yeah.
They're not overlooking them at all. They're wide awoke. Lamar Jackson, they're going to be locked in. In terms of what that means for the Browns, it means there is no margin for error, really. Like, they have to play their best football, be opportunistic, and capitalize. The thing that and the last thing I'll say is, I had an opportunity to see the All-22. I wasn't impressed with the run game. The run game, they're not going to be able to continue drop back with Joe Flacco 40, 50, 60 times, even though I think that's just what they
But he can't last.
It's not
can't last. No.
Not sustainable. So they have to get better up front. I thought DeJuan Jones did not look good. Ethan Pochich did not look good in the run game at all. They're going to have to get better at that. But,
and
they'll
they
have
need
the
Judkins bad.
Oh, yeah. They need him clearly a lot. Jerome Ford, I don't know what he was doing in that game. If you see the All-22,
there were some holes, G.
there were spots.
They looked worse later after further examination than they did on Sunday, and they looked really bad live.
Yeah.
But there was nothing that I could find that gave me any room for hope. And I agree with you guys. Like, we had talked, you said play fake is great, but the quality of the running back doesn't determine the success of the play fake. And some of that I agreed with, but I don't think you were on the panel when that discussion was being had. So I wanted to ask you, as a defensive back that peeks his nose in on those play fakes, does it matter the quality of the running back or the quality of the overall running game? Do you begin to just naturally pay less attention to that play fake because you have every confidence in the world that the front seven's going to gobble that run up?
I think it depends who I am and depends what kind of player I am. If I'm like a young guy who's a rookie, you could play fake me to death, and I'd bite on every time. If I'm a young player, you know what I mean. But if you're a veteran and and they have situational awareness, you know what I mean.
Down distance sticks.
Like that like a team like the Browns, or anybody. Let's say a team who's got relatively no offense, they're a crappy team. You're not worried about a play. If you don't have a stud running back, like play action works for Baltimore because they can run the hell out of the ball.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you gotta respect it. The Browns, I don't know that the Ravens would respect a play action pass.
Yeah, I don't either.
But all you need is that hesitation for that half a second.
True.
But you're more likely to hesitate if it's Derrick Henry in the backfield.
Are you
or
thinking
Jerome
about
Ford.
that consciously when the fake comes? You think it's going to be a run play?
So you are. I'm saying if you're a safety,
like Kyle Hamilton's less likely
Bull,
to
it's
bite.
a little like a baseball hitter changing his philosophy against different pitchers. You might sit on fastballs if you think you can catch up to that fastball. But if you got a guy like Clase last night was a great example, or Smith in the ninth inning, those guys were sitting fastballs. They just couldn't catch them. He was so good, it didn't matter what their game plan was.
Or if you're a batter, right, and you know that a pitcher can't throw a breaking pitch for a strike.
Spit on him.
If I'm not paying no attention to that.
Right.
You're not going to respect it.
I'm not
But in the end,
can you call Gabe Arias and let him know that?
They still may run the ball, and the natural inclination of a human being that's playing secondary is to at least for a half a second to stop or whatever because you see the run coming.
It also depends, Adam, where your keys are as like a defensive back or a safety. Like, where are you looking? I mean, so many guys, like you're just out there and you're kind of in la la land. You're looking around, your eyes are looking here, there, as opposed to like maybe some guys are looking at the offensive line. They're actually seeing what they're doing up front.
Sense.
I mean, there's just a lot of different keys that certain players look at.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at it for myself sometimes. Like when I call a game.
Yeah.
Like I make sure that my eyes are looking at the whole field as opposed to just staring at the ball, because sometimes I get faked out in the booth.
Oh my God! I remember doing play-by-play in Division III. We were playing this team. Brockport, my school, was playing a team that ran the triple option. Yeah, and half the time I didn't know where the hell the ball was.
Right.
I don't have a spotter at Division III, so that is crazy. But don't you think that the quality of the fake by the quarterback plays a big role into it as well?
The quality of the fake matters, but you have to still be able to execute the run. Like the Browns, you have to set up the play action by actually running the ball. Even if you don't run the ball successfully, you still have to run the ball.
Right. And they kind of went away from the running game in the second half.
Right.
In the first half, they were balanced. I think there was 50-50 in the first half. In the second half, they threw almost every time.
I think this is a key distinction that people have to get to. So there's two different things. There's play action, and then there's run action. So play action is we are actually coming off the football as if it is an actual run play, right? But when you talk about run action, guys are just pass setting, but it's a fake in the backfield. So if I'm a defensive line and I see run action, but I'm reading the offensive line and their hats are high, I'm like, oh, I'm not fooled. I'm going to transition my rest because I know it's the difference between you coming off the football and it could actually be a run. So it has to work both ways.
But in that case, G, even if the back's good, then you wouldn't worry about it, right?
Or in this case, you could come in and the game plan could be like this, Dustin. Mm-hmm. If Jerome Ford want to have 150 yards, clap it up. We'll shake their hand.
Pick your poison,
whatever. Right. We're not worried about that because we don't even think that they're able to find those lanes like that to gash us. We'll just tackle them, rally to it. But the thing we don't want is Joe Flacco, play action, and getting chunk plays because that is the only way they can beat us. They can't matriculate the ball down the field on us. Well, they got to go for shot plays.
I mean, that's kind of what happened with the Browns last week because in that first drive, the first Bengals drive, it was all Chase, not all, but mostly Chase Brown. Mm-hmm. And so the Browns play the Bengals like we don't care about the running game.
Yeah,
that's how they play them. And then in the second half, remember in that first drive and then the third drive where the Bengals scored the 2 touchdowns, they were constantly in 3rd and short. Mm-hmm. But late in the second half, they were in 3rd and long every
behind
time,
the sticks.
And so they couldn't run, and that's when you get yourself in trouble. And so the Bengals couldn't no longer take advantage of the fact that the Browns were all focused on the passing, which you got to be against.
That's why
Bengals.
it's important, and you'd mentioned this last week, and I completely agree with this part of it. For play fake to be effective, you have to stay on schedule. If you're 3rd and 3, you have to honor that.
Yes.
If you're 3rd and 9, good luck.
Right.
You're not fooling anybody.
The Ravens they're not gonna be like, okay, Cleveland can beat us on the ground.
No.
Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson are not going to beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're just not. They're going to be like, okay, fine, go ahead.
Do you think Judkins might play this week? Or
I
you think
have no idea, man.
I was hopeful, but missing again today. That's really one of his 3 days to get ready. This is a good point I think worth bringing up. It comes from our executive producer, Steve. I hadn't looked ahead at the Ravens' schedule. This is a great point. They cannot afford to lose this game because they have the Lions, the Chiefs, the Texans, and the Rams after that.
Yeah.
So, much as we're looking ahead to our next 4, they are too.
I was deciding who to take in my Survivor pool, and I picked the Ravens this week. Because
they're probably the biggest spread, so it's the safest play.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to be able to use the Ravens for at least another month anyway. So.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah, they do have a tough schedule coming up.
Very difficult.
There's no doubt about it. And
of course, so do we.
Yeah.
So do the Browns. Yep. We got Leroy Hoard in the queue. Somebody do a read. We're going to bring in our favorite running back to the show. Before we do that, we have to remind everybody that 5 Hour Energy is a proud sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. This great ginger and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost, perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through the day, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-hour energy transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. Now you can arm up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for rules and entry. No purchase necessary. This does exclude the Masters tournament, though. Ends on October 31st, 2025.
Mike just yesterday, said Ben Gay and Trent Richardson were his two favorite running backs. And now today, Leroy's his favorite running back.
It's always Leroy. Don't believe Leroy. What's up, Leroy?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Leroy?
Wow, I'm digging the long gray
Look at that
music you're wearing there. It makes you look intellectual.
It's like Mr. Miyagi.
That's kind of funny. That's kind of
Wax
funny.
on, wax
Hey,
off.
I'd be more like Thicky Miyagi, but that's all right.
How you been, Leroy?
What's up, man?
Good, man. I got a little, man, can I just tell you, if I put those stats, that time of possession, that control of the line of scrimmage, on any other game in the NFL, the Browns are the only team to lose that game.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
not wrong.
Yeah.
2-1.
When you look at time of possession now, and you guys were kind of speaking on it, in order to truly dominate that game, you got to get more production when you're controlling the clock like that out of your run game. Because then you're truly dominating the game. But it's funny because I look at things totally different. I look at defenses fall for anything, right?
Right.
And so, like, it's easy to say, oh, when I see that offensive lineman standing up and I know he not run blocking, I know it's a pass. They always fall for it. They've been falling for it since the history of football. So yeah, it's all great that we sitting on a chair and talking about that. Now, what real offensive lines do is they take that quick jab, that quick one step, to where you taking a step with one foot, you ain't moved forward, or you notice real good play action always goes sideways. Because you're running, but you ain't going nowhere. Right?
So that sells the defense that you
right,
might run.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the defense is like, because if you're a defender and a guy goes to your left or to your right, and your gap control is the gap in front of him, then you got to beat your tail to get to that gap. So a lot of times you taking what the defensive rules are to stopping the run, and you're using it against them. So you don't have to go downfield. You don't have to give a good run look. They just got to beat you across your face. And once you do that and you just push them that way and the quarterback rolls out the other way, you're like, oh, I fell for it again.
But we haven't seen that much. We haven't seen that much stretch action, though. I've seen a lot of just inside zone, because they ran what you're describing. They ran a lot of that with Baker, which was very successful because they did run the stretch, and then all of a sudden he blew out and they'd be wide open. I haven't seen that much. Maybe it's the fact that Joe's a little more upright, but yeah, that is true.
It's just the direct, but it's not. Keep in mind, it's not necessarily the stretch play. It's more about the direction. You see what I mean? You're trying to sell going left. It's not that, hey, we're giving a look that we run this stretch play and you're going to bite on it. Because if my responsibility is in between the guard and the tackle, and that guard moves that gap one step outside, then I got to get to that gap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing that catches defenses. It's not necessarily the actual run play. It's where your fit is on the offensive lineman. And when that moves, you got to move to get your lane.
Leroy.
So what's up?
Sorry. No, I thought you were done. I I wanted your thoughts on Dylan Sampson's first game, and how big a difference do you think Quinshon Judkins, after obviously seeing him at Ohio State, can make for this running game?
I think what will happen when he does get into the fold is you're going to see 2-yard runs become 4-yard runs. 5-yard runs become 7-yard runs.
I'll take it.
Right? He has that ability to, that's how you wear defense down running the football.
Yep.
It's not the amount of yards or that you don't break one. But when you keep pushing that pile for an extra 2-3 yards and put your offense in a situation where now we're 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 3, that in itself, they feel that they have to put more people in the box to stop that, when in actuality, there's nothing they can do to stop it because you're just running with power. And so that creates a whole nother level of problems for a defense. And so now you're talking about, hey, let's bring a safety up. Let's get somebody else pushing on that pile the other way. And I think that's what happens. Sampson, I found myself saying, oh, he should have got 3 yards on that, and he got 3 yards, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, he should have got 5 yards on that, and he got 5 yards. I was kind of hoping that he were to do a little bit more. Now, he did have some receptions, so you look at total yards and say, yeah, as a running back, he was effective. But I would like to see more effectiveness in the run game, because if you look at that time of possession and you look at how they controlled the ball, you would assume that they ran the ball really well, and they didn't. Yeah. So if you start running the ball well, you're talking about that 35-plus minutes becomes 40 minutes.
Oh.
And I want to see that. I want to see Joe Burrow try to perform with 5 less minutes. Right? Now he's got to press. And you putting him in a situation without really doing anything that forces them to have to press. Now they're playing into the hands of Myles Garrett. And what I enjoyed about that defense is, one, they got after it. They were all over the field. They were making tackles. They were swarming to the ball. But everybody else on that D-line did what they had to do so Myles Garrett could eat. Yeah. Right? You couldn't, and how many times in years past we see nobody else doing anything, and they got a chip and 2 guys doubling Myles Garrett. He just can't get there, and we're like, somebody else got to get there. Well, now the other guys played such a pivotal role in getting pressure on the quarterback that Myles Garrett was single block. You can't block that man with one man. And he just caused havoc. I mean, the series at the end of the game, I was like, this game is over. Where he just took over.
Yep.
That's what he does. And you got to have guys that compliment him, that put pressure on the quarterback in their own right, so that he does get that opportunity to be the pass rusher that he is.
Yeah, complimentary football.
Right. I was so just like, man,
your text messages Sunday were echoing my feelings exactly with everyone you sent me. I'm like, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm feeling right now.
And and here's the thing. Football is a very negative reinforced sport, right? It's not a situation where, Steph Curry goes 1 for 10 and they go, just keep shooting it, player. Just keep shooting it. You're going to get it, right? It's not baseball where you go 0 for 20 and they go, just go up there and go through your process, see the ball, it's going to turn around. Football is no. You screw up one play and we got questions, right? So,
and it all builds on itself.
Right. So every time it has gotten to the end of the game and the kicker, who you have not seen all week, runs onto the field, it's like, I don't care how short it is. I don't care how long the field goal is. Do you see all the players on the sideline? Ain't nobody turning their head because they know. They know.
We better watch this.
Right. It's absolutely terrifying for a football game to come down. When I was in Minnesota, the punter and the kicker, when we played home, during practice, used to go on 1 day a week, used to go to the stadium and do their work in the stadium. So we didn't even see them.
Yeah, that's how
So like when they would come back the next day of practice, because we had 1 day of special teams, when they would come back the next day, everybody would go up to the kicker and the punter and introduce themselves. So my life and my dreams have been ruined and spoiled by kickers so many times. And I'm like, and so when I'm watching this, I'm just shooting off all the situations to Jay. I'm just all the situations.
Yeah.
Like it's a flashback. But that being said, kicker is also one of the toughest jobs from this perspective. If you have a bad game as a running back and you're the starter, you get some leeway. If you have a bad game as a quarterback, a lot of times they're going to show support. If you drop a couple of balls, if you look at when Dallas played the Eagles, if CeeDee Lamb could catch, that game would have been a different game.
Yes, you're right.
Right? Mysteriously, he couldn't catch at all that game. But a kicker, there's kickers everywhere. And so I don't know how he has to deal with that, right? I don't know how the team deals with that. But you always have to keep in the back of your mind that there's some guy on the field down the street getting ready for his call-up because he'd already been in the league, and we all know their names. Have you ever signed a kicker and you say, oh, I remember him? They're all over.
Yeah, that's a fact. Hell, 41-year-old Matt Prater came off the couch and kicked a game-winning field goal.
Right. I mean, wait. We have a new kicker that missed a 40-yarder and an
36,
extra point.
36.
36? Right. And Matt Prater came off the bench and made, what, a 60-yarder?
No, it wasn't that far.
Well, how long was it? Was
40.
Maybe you're thinking about are you thinking about the other game?
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh game?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm thinking
60-something.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
Possible
Pittsburgh
60-yard game winner
to win it.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm thinking about.
No, it's all good.
That's what I'm thinking about.
They're all run
They're all
together, man.
interchangeable. They're all,
So
Yeah,
Boswell's
we
probably
like-
the best kicker in football.
Yeah.
I wish we had
Yeah.
Boswell.
Oh, me too.
No, we all do now.
Yeah.
But who
No,
ever
hell,
thought
I wish
that
I
he
had
would
him
miss
for
those?
Sunday, too.
Hey, if it wasn't for a kicker, I'd be in the Super Bowl. I would have played in the Super Bowl. So
Were you
like,
on that? I
believe
was
me.
trying to think. You weren't on that 98 team, were you? That with
Yes.
Anderson?
Yep.
Yes.
He was perfect
Yes.
all year. It was the only
Perfect
kick
all-
he missed all year.
Hey! Don't remind me. I was there. I was there. You don't understand. Wait, I'm
I
gonna tell you
thought
a
you were
Brown
gone
story.
by then.
No.
Oh my
So,
God.
I'm gonna tell you a Brown story. So we were playing at the time Houston, and we were playing the Houston Oilers, and we had beat them up physically so much they had no linebackers. So they had two safeties playing linebacker. That's how physical that game was, right? We get down to the 2-yard line with 2 seconds left. And Bill calls a timeout and goes, look, we are destroying them. Let's just kick that field goal. It's wet, it's muddy, it's whatever. Let's kick the field goal, go into overtime, and handle our business there instead of going for it now. We were like, cool. Right? And I'm trying to think of who it was. Matt
Barr?
No, not Matt Barr. After Matt Barr, he went on to the Ravens. Stover.
Matt Stover.
Oh, okay.
Stover.
Stover, yeah.
Stover. Right? And he goes out there, he slips and kicks the ball in the dugout. I mean, it went now, if you know Municipal Stadium,
That's not even
that
close.
thing is not down the third baseline. Right?
It's 30 yards off target.
Right. And it's a field goal that you wouldn't even have now. And it was shorter than an extra
That's
point.
why we have kicker PTSD. It goes all the way back to that year.
Right. And so as great as a kicker as he was, right, we nicknamed him Dugout. and so, like, yeah, man, like it's one of the hardest positions to be in on a football team. Because you run into the game with your clean uniform, you see guys coming off the field with broken fingers, with scars, with bruises all over their body, and you got one job.
Yeah, kick it through the uprights.
Right. So I sympathize with him, but damn. Man,
Hey, what do you think about the fact that the Ravens are celebrating 30 years of returning football to Baltimore the week we come to town?
That's pretty crazy, but I will I'll tell you another story about the first year, and you guys might not remember this, and when I bring it up, you're going to go look it up, and you're going to be shocked, okay? We went to Baltimore, and they had all this pomp and circumstance, went to the baseball game, all this stuff, right? Everybody was congratulating us, right? They were congratulating us for winning the Grey Cup. No, for winning the Grey Cup. That was the year where they had about 6 teams in the U.S. for the Grey Cup. And if you pull up the Grey Cup champions, the Baltimore team won the Grey Cup that year. And we got congratulated all the way up until we actually played dressed as the Ravens for winning the Grey Cup.
That makes no sense.
Go look it up.
The
fans didn't even know.
In
they
95,
thought we played Canadian football.
Leroy, 95, the Baltimore Stallions won the Grey Cup.
Yes! Right!
God.
So just imagine going to a new town. You're miserable that you left a place that people love you, and you get to a place and they don't even give you credit with playing in the NFL.
That's crazy.
They thought they called up the Canadian Football League team?
They had 6 teams down here for that 1 year. And nobody believes me when I tell them, and they got to go look it up. The Baltimore Stallions won the Grey Cup.
My God.
Damn.
That's wild work.
And Baltimore football fans assumed that was you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is.
Meantime, we were crying in our beer for 3 years.
So, like, yeah, I was crying too because I wasn't there very long.
That Ravens team went 4-12, Leroy. Do you remember the 4 wins, who they were against?
The Raiders.
Correct.
And I was gone.
Oh, yeah, well, it was Raiders, Saints, Rams, and Steelers.
Hey, Testaverde was throwing that 1 year. Vinny was throwing for 300 yards. He was throwing for 400 picks, but Vinny did his thing.
We call that in sports a looter and a riot.
He was Joe Flacco before Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how you think Flacco played?
I think listen, and here's what it is. I love Joe Flacco. His demeanor, how he approaches the game, the respect he gets from all of the guys that ever played with him. Joe Flacco is like, he's going to give you 4, 5, 6 of the best weeks of football you have ever seen. And then, like, am I right? It happened. When was that? 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yes. Joe, then he won comeback player of the year. He played 12 seconds.
That's true. That's so
right?
true.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
I have never seen somebody win any kind of award in the National Football League and get to the team for Thanksgiving.
That's so true.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. And he beat Baker,
so,
I think.
Right.
He beat DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is.
I mean,
he's amazing.
Hamlin's thing was that he came back.
I mean, that's the biggest comeback you could ever have.
Came
bro.
back from flatline.
Right.
Death.
Right.
But, yeah, it has to
But-
point.
but-
It has to be about the play on the field too.
Right. And so when you think about arm strength, Yes. Accuracy, yes. He still can move a little bit because when you see him roll out, he don't look like he's 40.
What?
Right? He looks better than Aaron Rodgers rolling out.
I mean, that's not saying much.
But I'm just saying, we comparing the only two 40-year-olds I know. Right? Still playing football.
First of all, that's the key point. He's 40 and he's a starting quarterback. You don't do that if you don't have something there.
Right. And so throws are accurate. He makes good decisions until he doesn't.
Yeah.
And we all and that's the thing that I'm terrified of is, one, you let a game slip away where you absolutely played from the offensive side, the defensive side, one of the best all-around games that I've seen them play in a while. And you didn't even win the game. Right? And now you have a team coming in that not only is desperate to win, but they're on a different level than you in that they're competing for a championship. You trying to get in that discussion. So it was disappointing. But if you're a Browns fan and you see the way the team played that week, like if they play like that every week, that's a 12-win team.
Wow.
If they play that way, especially if Junkins gets back and does more of the physical running, absolutely. You control the ball that way, right? You hold the team to that amount of points. You stuff them. You do all the things that you did. If they do that every week, at the end of the year, you're going to be like, Leroy told me that.
Well, that's a big if, though.
I mean, you mean
It's a
minus,
huge if.
you
It's
mean
not.
minus
Listen.
the drops and the interceptions, right? Minus the missed field goals and the.
Well,
I'm
his
not
point
talking.
is,
I'm
though,
talking. Listen,
they played well enough
I'm not
to
even
win.
talking.
They should
I'm
have
not
won.
even talking. I'm not. Right. That's what I'm. When you look at those numbers, there's only one stat that could cause you a loss in that situation,
Turnover.
and that is if it's a pick six or something along those lines. And that was the 2 turnovers, and I realized one was at the end of the game, right? But besides that, if you look down that list, the only thing you could say I wish I would have seen a little bit more of is a higher yards per carry.
Run. Yeah.
But then I would also say this, and here's a number that you should understand. If I can run the ball 30 plus times a game, the yards per carry don't really matter. Because if they allow you to be able to run it 30 times, you are still controlling the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you'd made that point last year. I remember that.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Leroy, to your
look
point,
at the number of carries.
to your point, they were very balanced in the first half, the Browns. I mean, they were 50-50 at halftime. They really didn't even try to run the ball much in the second half.
Well, and keep in mind, sometimes in these situations, the quarterback has the ability to get into a better play. And sometimes just where teams line up, they'll take something away. And so you don't know what portion of that is. We called 7 run plays and he changed 5 of them to these pass plays.
That's a good
that
point.
worked.
Yeah.
So we never know that. We never know what portion of that is a part of the game plan.
And at that point, the quarterback's
see what I
crazy
mean?
if he doesn't take what the defense is giving him.
Correct. Because you're still trying to play good football. You want to run the football, but hey, if the cornerback's playing 10 yards off, and I signal to my wide receiver, run me a 5-yard route, that's just as good as a 5-yard run if we're 100% on those little short passes. So, there's a lot that goes into it. So I don't necessarily just look at, how many runs they had because I'm not understanding how many runs were called. Sometimes you can have a run play called, then they say, hey, Joe, if they give us this look, take that free money outside.
Is that why Bernie and Belichick didn't get along? Because Bernie was always changing the calls?
Hey, let me tell you something. Bernie's check with me's were just what I mean. That dude was drawing up offenses on the dirt. And he'll say, hey, Jax, you know how on this play you're supposed to run a post? I want you to fake the post and run a corner, and that ball's going to be in the air. And I'll be damned if we didn't score a touchdown on it, and we got to the sideline and nobody went by Bill. No, because we know doggone well that at no point in the week did a play adjustment have Bernie drawing something in the dirt.
Well, Bernie's story is epic. That his last throw ever as a Brown was
that's it. That's the play.
A drawn up
that's
play in the dirt that went for a touchdown, and Bill released him that week.
That's the play.
And there's a T-shirt that commemorates that play.
That was the play. We all look.
Bill's ego.
We sitting in the huddle. It's supposed to be like an off tackle play or something like that, or some kind of just a quick pass or something like that. And Bernie gets on the knee. He says, "Jax, they playing this cover 2. I think it was a corner, and then he's supposed to run a corner. He said, I want you to run a corner and then take 2 steps out and then go to the post. The ball's gonna be there. Don't worry about it." He said, "Guys, give me 2 more seconds." And we looking around, it's like, this better work because I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going, because you got an offense coordinator, you got, everybody got to deal with their own individual coach. Say, what protection did we use? We use BK protection. But that's, look, back then, quarterbacks had that autonomy to be able to do stuff like that. And the thing is, the reason why Bill and Bernie sometimes bumped heads was because Bill, at that point in time, the most important thing for him at that juncture with us was structure, right? And any deviation from that took away from the structure that he could build on. So I didn't blame either guy, but I know I wanted to win.
Yep.
And so we're like, hey, Byrne, is this going to work? He said, absolutely. Break. And he scored a touchdown. And guess what? Now you're going to the sideline, and Bill's going at it with Bernie, and our coaches are looking at us, and we're going, I'm following that guy. He want to win.
Yeah,
and
well,
that's,
they would have been
and that's the problem.
Diminishing skills and the release, and then the story was written.
Right.
Leroy, before we let you go, because we got to move along, give us your prediction for Sunday.
Listen, I think the game's going to be a lot closer than people think. I know I'm basing this off of 1 week. I think what they're going to do is they're going to force Joe Flacco to beat you. And we're just going to play the numbers game. We're going to play the numbers game with Joe Flacco. We're going to stop the run. We're going to stuff the run. We're going to make you throw the ball. And we're going to say Joe Flacco's going to do Joe Flacco things, and we're going to take advantage of it. Now, so far, Joe Flacco has been pretty good with the football, making good throws, sound throws, quick throws, all the things that you would expect from your starting quarterback. And he completed almost 70% of his balls. So he's making good decisions. I think, yeah. So what I would do is, I'm like, all right, Joe, let's see you do that again.
Yeah, make him do it.
And I think, and whether it's, hey, we got a good pass rush, we're going to keep putting him back there and sitting him back there and seeing if they can protect long enough, or we're going to try to force Joe to make a bad throw. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in pass protection or on a pass play. Whereas a run game, even if somebody misses a block, if you have a decent running back or a running back that can make a guy miss, you still can have success. So I'm going to that thing.
You're picking the Ravens, right?
Yeah, I just think.
Yeah.
Well, here's the only reason why I say that. This is the only reason why I say that. Because I got 4 years of seeing what the Ravens have done
Yeah.
and 1 week of seeing what the Browns have done. That's it.
As we say goodbye, one other thing to keep in mind, I mentioned the fact that Baltimore is going to rub Cleveland's face in it. This was the year that we took your team 30 years ago. It's the last time Joe Flacco is going to go into Baltimore. The last time. That's where he won the Super Bowl. That's where he played the formative years of his career. I think it might mean a little extra to Joe to come out of there with a W-2. So a lot of storylines in this one.
It meant a little bit extra. It made a little bit extra when I went back with the Vikings.
Good, really.
And one of the things I said when I went back there was, I'm on a good team now. You ain't got a chance. What? What?
And they didn't. All right, Leroy. Great talking to you.
It was my first year.
Enjoy the game. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Leroy.
Thanks,
Okay.
Leroy.
All right.
By the way, before we bring in Shaun real quick, in that interview we were talking a lot about yards per carry. I just got the official word that Leroy just broke Charles Davis's long-standing record of words per question.
We got 2 questions in.
That's all you need with Leroy.
Leroy can go,
Leroy,
man.
here's the kind of guest Leroy is. This is why we love him.
Yeah.
Wind him up.
Boom.
Let him go.
Let him go.
You never know where he's going to go, but it's always going to be an interesting
It
ride.
wasn't an interview. It was a lecture.
This is what I call a
like it.
shotgun interview.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right, guys, let me do a read. We'll bring in Shaun King. The NFL season is here. FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. And right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the App Store. Are you ready to play? If you are, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS to place your first $5 bet. We'll go from a resident running back to a resident quarterback. Shaun King joins us now. What's up, Shaun? How you doing today?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Shaun, what's up, man?
Johnny.
What'd you think about Flacco's performance, Shaun?
I thought it was okay. I'm going to get into what I think they should do at quarterback here during this segment, but it was okay. I mean, it was solid. It was what you expect from a guy that's old as me that's still playing in the National Football League.
How old are you, Shaun? Are you 40?
He's
No,
No,
he's
he's older
older
than
than
that. He's just joking.
Hey,
I'm trying to
quick,
make him feel
concise-
younger.
Like quick, concise decision making, very efficient. I think diagnosing of the defense. Like you can tell, he still sees the game at a high level. I think when the quick passing game, the short to intermediate stuff, he's still really good at. But he's very immobile at this point. And for Cleveland, I just don't know big picture why they're driving this particular car.
Drill down on that. What you mean why they're driving this particular car?
The Browns, as they're currently configured, in my opinion, are not a Super Bowl caliber team. You could argue they're not really a fringe caliber team because they really don't have elite weapons offensively. I know the tight end fan, and he went from Bowling Green Brown to Cleveland Brown, and he looks pretty good in it, and Sampson showed some highlights. But outside of a stretch with Jameis Winston, Jerry Jeudy still didn't look like a number one receiver. Now, defensively, they're really good, but because I don't think they have a high ceiling with Joe Flacco, and they've been trying to figure quarterback out for how long, guys?
40 years.
But there's
Sometimes
17 games, Shaun. There's gonna be time to see the kids.
No, I'm just saying, sometimes when you want change, you got to do something strange. Here's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would alternate games with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders.
Ooh, wow. Well, that won't happen.
That's
Got
outside,
that, Shaun?
That's outside the box thinking. I like that. Why?
is.
Tell us why you do it that way.
Because now we get an organic opportunity to evaluate both of these young guys over 8 games. They got 16 games left, right?
Yep.
I would alternate starts.
How do you
Dylan,
explain
you
that
got
to
one?
Myles Garrett, Joel Bitonio, veterans that are running out of chances to win?
I bring Myles into the office. I say, Myles, we paid you. Shut up and go play. as he's walking out the door, I said, we're gonna know one or two things at the end of this year. Either we got our quarterback of the future in Dylan Gabriel, or we got our quarterback of the future in Shedeur Sanders, or we know it's something that we still need to address.
I think they believe they already have that answer.
It's one thing to believe it; it's another thing to see it.
You're right.
When Ryan Poles went in those draft meetings and said that there was a super Walmart between Caleb Williams and the rest of the quarterbacks in that class, he fully believed that, Jay.
Yeah, he was wrong.
And now he has to watch Jaden Daniels and Drake May and J.J. McCarthy
That is-
and Bo Nix and all these
that's
guys
one
have
of the-
success.
Well, maybe
And
he.
just
Nah,
look at Caleb Williams.
Hey, maybe
That-
he
that-
was right though. Maybe he was right, just in the wrong direction.
Yeah, there
That's-
could still be a world of difference.
Hey man, that's a very good point. I hear that a lot around here. Well, the Browns believe. The Browns bro, listen.
But yeah. By the way, G,
thinking and knowing is two different things, right?
and to your point, like if the Browns already think that neither of these guys can be starting quarterbacks in the league, then that's a terrible job by them drafting, especially Gabriel. You know, Sanders, it's the 5th round. Okay, if that, 5th round picks don't always turn into anything. But you drafted Gabriel in the 3rd round. If you've already decided he has no chance to be the quarterback of the future, that's a really wasted pick for a top 100 pick.
And let me put some context on this. Sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah.
If the San Francisco 49ers thought Brock Purdy was going to be a quarterback that they would give $50+ million a year to after year 3, they would have drafted him in the 1st round, not the 7th.
You bet.
That's right.
Sometimes guys are gamers. Sometimes guys are kind of inconsistent in practice. They're not all the way fully wired. Allen Iverson comes to mind. Not saying that Gabriel or Shedeur or Allen Iverson, just saying that we've had examples. Why not find out in 2025?
See, I
One of
like
them might
that.
surprise.
Sean, they're going to find out. I mean, they've used 5 and 4 quarterbacks, respectively, the last 2 years. Joe Flacco's 40. He moves like he's 45. He's a target back there. I think they're well aware of the fact that he is not going to last. It's not sustainable. It's just not. So at some point, the kids are going to be forced into action. I do think it's white flaggish if in week 2 you just roll out Dylan Gabriel in week 2. The fans are going to be like, wait a minute, we looked good in week 1. What are we doing?
So I'm glad you said that. And the reason, and I know it's unrealistic on, Wednesday of game week to say that anybody's going to start with Flacco. But to my point, even if it happens in 2 weeks, you give those guys a fair evaluation. What's going to happen if Flacco stays healthy? He's going to play 11, 12 weeks. The Browns are going to be 4-8, and you're going to have 5 games left.
It won't last that long.
No, just under this scenario, you're going to have 5 games left. And now you're going to have 2 young guys going out there that are trying to substantiate being the quarterback that they were drafted to be with a group of guys that, man, you know how guys are when they see we can't make the playoffs?
Yep.
It's not the same.
Plus, guys will get hurt between now and then, too.
Yeah,
Right.
but I think
you'll see a
think
lot of my hamstring don't feel good. My shoulder hurt, coach. On my big toe.
Let me ask you this, Sean. This is my view of it. I thought this has been their plan all along. I think the line in the schedule is week 6. This is a gauntlet like we haven't seen. Really, all of them are playoff caliber teams. And I throw the Bengals in there even though they missed the playoffs last year. Everybody else is a playoff team. I think it's different if you do that and you're 1-5. At 1-5, hope has left the building. And I know that the players will pack it in week 13 if you're 4-8, but are they really packing it in week 6 if they're 1-5? I don't know. Maybe they are. You've been in those locker rooms. I think at weeks after week 6, you reassess. You look at where you are. What if by some fluke of we didn't think that the Cincinnati game was going to be that close. If you're 3-3, maybe you let Joe ride for a little longer. But if you're 1-5, 2-4, depending on how those games went, I think that's an easier sell to the locker room and to the fan base. Let's just see what we have here. Because that is mission 2 this year is that right there. Mission 1 is to try to win at first. If you stumble out of the gate, go to mission 2. You better find out what you have, and not just Dylan Gabriel, but Shedeur Sanders, because you have to either bring them back next year or let them go.
So you disagree with me when I said it, but you actually made my point.
No, I disagree with your timing. You say let's do it this week. I think that's ludicrous.
No, right.
The timing is what I disagree with.
But when I said 4-8, you disagree. But if they get to 3-3, they could very easily talk themselves into getting to 4-8 with Flacco.
They could, and you know what? I'm willing to let that hand ride. It's like a poker game. If I get a couple of aces and a 2 and a 5, I might fold. but I don't know what's coming. So at least let's play it out as long as I can before I throw all my cards down.
So let's make a poker analogy. So we're in a big tournament, right?
Yeah.
And we're the short stack, right? Our pre-flop range has to widen. We can't wait on aces because they may never come, and we'll just get blinded out.
Well,
at some point,
double up at some
because
point.
because if you're a Browns fan, if you're in this organization, you just said y'all been waiting on quarterback for 40 years. At some point, you got to be willing to push your chips in the middle of the table. I got King 10 offsuit, but guess what? Let me see. I might be able to double up. That's where they're at.
So give me the draw. Well, how about this? How about this, Shaun? And I know we've seen very little of them, but they see them every day in practice. They know who they are.
It's different.
Do you think that the Browns franchise quarterback of the future, is currently on this roster?
Here's why I think you got to play them, because we don't know.
You got to see.
I know, but they're making.
And I'm sorry, this is my evaluation. This is
know.
my evaluation. I think Shedeur Sanders could be really good in certain spots in the National Football League. I'm not sure if Cleveland is that spot. Cleveland needs a transcendent player at quarterback.
Right. Yeah.
I think those guys deserve a chance to prove whether or not they're that person.
Okay, now
I know it's not Joe Flacco long term.
Of course it's not, but I know, and we have limited information. That's all we have right now. You've seen both of them in a preseason game plus. You know, we didn't see enough.
Plus, he evaluated them in college.
And you looked at them a lot in college. From what you've seen of both of them, do you believe, if you had to put your chips in the middle, because that's what the Browns have to make that decision next year, do you believe that either or both can be the future of this football team?
I think Shedeur Sanders has the capacity to be a multi-year above average starter in the National Football League.
Is that a yes then for the Cleveland Browns?
I don't know that Cleveland's the right spot.
Well, they can only... Yeah.
But the organization, I'd be damned now if they let these kids go and they go somewhere else and ball out. Then, I mean, that's just going to dig the hole even deeper for the Cleveland fan base, right?
Well, I
had Dylan Gabriel, and listen, I saw something in him in the preseason that I really liked. In the right system, I think he can be effective. But I just don't think his body type and skill level holds up over the long run.
Shaun, let's just call it what it is. The Browns are a man without a country. They keep saying they keep saying they want a quarterback. But anytime they want to get a quarterback, they go to the retread veteran. Let's see what we got. It says it's happened. This is Josh McCown. This is all the other guys.
Jameis,
the Loams, and we talk ourselves into it. Then you got some young dudes, right?
Well, one time they went with Baker.
But here's the thing: when you say I need to see the evaluation, because they made Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski made the evaluation that Baker Mayfield was not good enough. Is that correct? They told you that.
They did.
Now Baker rolled out. He's playing well. My thing is, while we talking about all this evaluating these young dudes, I need to evaluate if you know how to evaluate.
That's fair.
Because you got two dudes that you seem to be, well, we're not going to put them out there till we completely so. That ain't the way life works. You don't wake up in the morning and have a complete 100%. You got to, at some point, pull the trigger on something. So at least let me see if you got something, and then we'll give you some grace a little bit. If you play these dudes 4 games apiece or whatever, and you look like you trying to move up and down the field, if they look good and just show their deficiencies, now people will say, all right, well, listen, they just ain't good enough. They're limited here. Let's see if we get another quarterback. But if you're going to say you're going to play Flacco for 12, 13 weeks, then not play these dudes, and then say our guys in the 26th draft,
if the Browns are 0-3, I'm with you, Leroy. Shaun, if the Browns are 0-3, I think they should turn the page, and I think there's a chance they're going to be 0-3.
So let's learn right here.
Yeah.
Stop making it result based.
Oh, that's fair.
Shout out to Joe Flacco. You are dealing with a consummate pro. Mm-hmm. Like Flacco and drinking number water, eating number vegetables. He knows how old he is. He's sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber. Like Flacco is doing everything in his power to stay healthy and be as efficient as possible so that he doesn't get removed.
Right.
Because he's the consummate pro. I'm talking about big picture, what's best for the organization. Let's say y'all went to the playoffs this year by some miracle and lost in the first round. Flacco not coming back next year.
That's right.
At all.
Now all you're going to have is a room of guys that you still don't know.
That's fair.
I said it yesterday. They got
go.
on me. G. Bush, where's the cool? I said, listen, if you play 17 weeks and everything is straight, now you come in the next year and you tell us, well, it's going to be another competition between Shador, Dillon, and this new rookie. Now you're going to be playing the same charade you did all off season, and then Dillon to get, 4 games, Shador play a couple. Now you bring the rookie back in. Like, no, man, you gotta think big picture.
But they're gonna play. But I do agree with you guys. I'd play them sooner rather than later. To me, if Joe Flacco plays 12 games, that's not good.
As a fan of a football team
Yeah.
that waves a white flag in week 4, I'm not here for that. I can't. I can't.
Yeah, I hear. I
So
understand, but even if it's better for the
Jay,
other team long term.
If it was the Indianapolis Colts, my head would say, yeah, let's see what we got. But the fan base here,
I get it.
We've been kicked. We're going to be. I don't know if you know this or not, Sean, but we're going to be the butts of the joke Sunday when the Browns are on the field. They're going to have to look across and look out at the stadium and watch as Baltimore has the 30th anniversary of stealing our team. Like, that's what we're relegated to. And for us to wave a white flag after week 2 or week 4, I can't. And I know we say Joe's 40. He won't be here next year. We said that when he was 38. And I said, let's bring him back for 39, and we let him go. And what'd we do? We brought him back a year later. Like, we don't know what his expiration date is. We know what the average quarterback's expiration date is. Tom Brady played till he was 45.
Can I say this? We're sitting here about Joe. This is the ironic part. We're sitting here talking about Joe Flacco being 40 as a consummate pro. But sometimes you got to be a trailblazer. You know who decided Joe wasn't good enough? The Baltimore Ravens. And they got Lamar Jackson.
Well, yeah, if you're choosing between those two,
But
that's
guess
easy.
what? But Lamar Jackson was not a slam dunk when he came out. Everybody said move the receiver. They took him at the end of the first round, and guess what? They turned him into something. So yes, sometimes you do have to roll the dice because we are sitting here with the Joe Flacco, and we had Kenny Pickett. That the Steelers, you can't keep getting you got to go big or go home.
Well, if we had a Lamar Jackson, I would make that bet every time.
We could have
all day.
No,
I know we could have then, but we don't have him now, and he is the transcendent talent that you can see when you look at him. He won the Heisman in college. We knew that the skill set was clearly there.
So your passion is admirable, and you actually represent I know you actually represent a large portion of the Cleveland fan base. They are yearning for any semblance of success. But in the National Football League, if you think short term, guess what? You never have long-term stability. You never are a team that can get to the point where year in and year out, you're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. When something isn't fixed, you have to be willing to remove it and bring in something else. Not just put tape on this leg and wrap something around this shoulder. They got to find out if they have their quarterback of the future. What better way? So I believe this, right, guys? Iron sharpens irons, right? Iron sharpens iron. We've never seen a team do this in the league, but we've never seen a team be as futile at evaluating correctly the quarterback position as the Cleveland Browns. So you guys are in a unique bubble. And they don't got to start it this week, but 2 weeks from now, tell Dillon and Shador, we're going to alternate starts and see who can handle it. See who can handle it. See who can not only go out and excel as a starter, but who is also a team-first guy and can support the other guy when he's starting and be ready to play in case they're called upon. And then you got the wily vet, Joe Flacco, still in the room to help with anything that's needed from a preparation standpoint. That's one of the hardest things about being a starting quarterback in this league is getting the experience of how to get from one Sunday to the next Sunday and be at my very best on a consistent basis. How do I handle failure? How do I handle success? How do I get out of my mind last week's game plan and get into my mind this week's game plan? Did y'all see Caleb Williams on Monday night? He's going to put Ben Johnson into an early grave.
Yeah. All that makes sense, Sean, but we're a missed kick from beating a Super Bowl contender. I'm not putting a white flag up the pole yet. I'm just not.
It's not a white flag, Jay.
It is a white flag.
When you're on
white
the
flag
road
for this season.
No, when you're on the road and I got the stoplight, I'd rather the stoplight be all the way red so I know I got to stop, or be green so that I can speed up and get through it. The last thing I want is it to be yellow, and I'm trying to make a decision based on how fast I'm going, what I'm going to do.
And how do we know one of these guys? Sorry, Sean. How do we know one of these guys can't be better than Flacco anyway? By the way,
that's what I'm advocating for. You're not listening to me.
You think that one of them's better?
I have no idea. Probably not. But
I don't either. But I'm
Joe
bet on
Flacco's
what I know in week
Joe
2.
Flacco's like the 28th, 30th, 35th best quarterback in the league.
But in week 2, I'm betting on what I know. And what I know is Joe clearly gives this team the best chance to win. We were a missed field goal from beating a team that most have as a Super Bowl contender. I'm going to let it ride with Joe Flacco until it can't. And whether that's from injury or you're at 1-6. And I know that we sound like, let's see what these kids can do. If we're 1-6, 1-5, and in all likelihood we will be, if that's where we are, we've got 11 games. 11 games.
Here's the thing.
Let's see what we have.
Before Dusty gets his last question, here's the thing. Jay and a lot of fans, and I get this. I understand from a fan's perspective and a heart perspective, I get it. They think there's a chance, because of how the defense played last week, that maybe they can win the Super Bowl if Joe Flacco stays healthy.
I don't think that.
Down deep, you must.
No, absolutely not. No, I don't.
Come on.
Well, you can't tell me what I think.
Okay, all right, fine.
Let me correct you.
Fine. Okay.
Because that's a bridge too far. I'm crying out loud.
Okay, they could be a playoff
but here's
contender.
What I want, Bull.
Yeah.
I want my Sunday afternoons from 1 to 4 to be filled with optimism and hope and excitement and good plays and close finishes. That's what I want. Week to week, give me entertainment. This team isn't making the playoffs.
Go ahead.
They're not making the playoffs. They're not, and I know that. But what I don't want to watch again, because I've watched it for 30 years, I don't want to watch quarterbacks come out there that I have zero faith in. Now, maybe we'll catch lightning in a bottle and they'll come out there and play great, and then I'll say, you know what? I'm glad we did it this way. But right now, here's what I want. Entertain me for 3 hours on Sunday.
All right, I get that.
Don't drive my soul into the dirt every Sunday from 1 to 4.
I get that, but it is possible you might get that from these guys. It's possible.
It is. There is a chance. I just think, in my opinion, I don't think we're going to get better football from either of them that we're getting from Joe Flacco this year.
I get it.
Is there a chance Dustin gets his question off?
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Good.
Sean, hey, good to be with you, man. I'm Dustin. Hey, Archman didn't look good against the Buckeyes. Played better this past weekend. My question is, overall, from the college football you watched 2 weeks in here, any of these quarterbacks, Nussmeier, Drew Aller, any of these guys jumping out as
South Carolina,
like Sellers from South Carolina, jumping out at you as a transcendent type player?
I actually like the kid at Oklahoma, John Mateer.
I saw him too. I kind of liked him too.
I did too. Yeah.
So it's still early in the season, and let me say this about Arch,
swagged out.
because I'm glad you brought that up.
Baker Jr.
People have to stop evaluating Arch like his playing style is reminiscent of his uncles. He's not a quarterback like Eli or Peyton. He's a Josh Allen type of a quarterback. You go look at Allen's Wyoming tape, it looks just like Arch Manning. He's a big, athletic body that is probably better athlete than he is pure thrower of the football right now. Mm-hmm. And you're banking on the come, right? You're hoping he develops like Allen did as he gets older. But for a pundit who I respect, to have him as the number 1 pick in his first mock draft, like, that's crazy. Like, let the kid have a fair evaluation process, right? Like, J.J. McCarthy, it was Vikings fans that were talking about he was a bust at halftime.
Yeah, they were.
Give these kids an opportunity to put enough information and data out there for you to make a educated evaluation. Which to Jay, and listen, boy, Jay, you got baggage. You are scarred.
Oh, man.
I'm broken.
More than anybody.
I'm broken, Sean. I'm broken. You know why?
Dog.
Here's why I'm broken. That's why.
Yes.
And to my last point, and remember I said I like John Mateer from Oklahoma, to answer your question.
Yeah.
what you do is if you go to what I'm saying they should, you give both guys enough time to put real information and data out there. Mm-hmm. So you don't get emotional. You make a decision based on a real collection of information. Like if they both get 5 starts, let's say they do it over 10 games. That's not an end-all, be-all, but damn, that's a whole lot of football. Mm-hmm. You know, for rookies. And it's not about how they play in game 1. It's about, let me compare where they are in game 5 based on where they were in game 1.
Right.
It's about progress. It's about growth. It's about development. Baker Mayfield's a top 10 quarterback in Tampa, not because he's more talented, he's more mature. Cleveland got rid of him really because of his immaturity. He was young and immature at the time. Mm-hmm. Now, you know what? He failed a couple times. He grew up. And he's a more mature guy, and look at him. Like, but you got to get these guys exposed in order to start really collecting the data. You're not going to learn anything by them standing on the sideline. I promise you that.
Is he more Uncle Rico or Uncle Peyton?
Ooh. Personality-wise?
Nope. Skill set.
I don't know the kid.
Skill set. The sidearm throws are concerning.
He's Josh Allen. So they did a little thing on the Monday, was it Sunday night game was Baltimore Buffalo?
Yeah.
And they showed how Allen has worked to change his throwing motion, how he's gotten better, more compact. If you look at Josh coming into the league, very inaccurate. Now he's pretty accurate. Like, I think Arch is going to have that same kind of developmental arc. And I think the interesting thing is Sarkisian's really had, like, pocket timing type quarterbacks. Mac Jones, you know, Quinn Ewers. He's got to adjust a little bit to what Arch does well. He's got to put some QB run stuff in there early in the game to get Arch going. He got to put some, you know, a couple screens, some quick game. Like, it's up to these coordinators to know your quarterback and to get your quarterback in a rhythm.
Very good.
Thanks, Shaun.
Always good to see you, Shaun. You know we love you.
All right, love y'all. Hey, Jay, man, look, man, I love you. If I was there, I'll give you a
Get
hug,
therapy,
bro.
though, right?
Don't let this organization make you stroke out, man, and leave this earth before you're supposed to, man.
No. That horse has left the barn, brother.
Yeah, many years.
It has left the barn.
Yeah.
All right,
thanks, Shaun.
I wasn't this way when I was 40, I promise.
We'll see Shaun next week back here on UCSS. We're going to dive into another Browns topic that is brought to us by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those of you who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it, because these moments do more than win. They push what's possible, reminding us to go that extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and keep the game moving forward. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning, and just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, guys, defending Lamar Jackson is no easy task, and the Browns obviously have a difficult decision to make on whether they blitz Lamar, play coverage. I had a specific question, though, and Dustin, we'll start with you on this.
Sure.
Outside of Myles Garrett, so Myles Garrett eliminated from contention in this question. We obviously know he'd be the answer if he was available to be chosen. Who's the most important defensive player on the Browns this Sunday against the Ravens in effort to stop Lamar, Henry, and that high-powered Ravens offense?
Ooh, that is a good question. How about I go Schlesinger? How about I go Schlesinger? The guy in the middle of the defense. He's a rookie. His first time playing against an MVP in the NFL on the road. One of the most dynamic players of all time in Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to have a tough day. Not a tough day, but a tough task, tough challenge. You know, to get guys lined up, to be where he's supposed to be, to continue to play well as he did this past weekend. I think against the Bengals, I thought he played really well in that game, and it's gonna be like a welcome to the NFL kind of game. I think for him in terms of like this, he's gonna see a guy that I'm sure he watched Sunday Night Football. I mean, if you watch Sunday Night Football, you gotta be thinking, man, I gotta play against that dude this week. Yeah, well, you got to play against both those guys this year, and Josh Allen as well. So I'll say Carson Schlesinger.
It's a good answer. I think it's the right answer.
Yeah, this is gonna be a rough one, man. Here's the problem that you got when you play the Ravens. Like, So they have everything that can threaten you on multiple levels. It doesn't mean that all 4 or 5 of them gonna get it going at one time, but what happens is, first of all, they're very multiple when it comes to their formations. So they can run a lot of heavy sets. They got a really big fullback. They got Derrick Henry in the run game downhill, so he can get it going. You know, that's just a challenge in itself, being 240, just running around doing that. Plus, they got the fullback leading through. They got Mark Andrews that can hurt you at tight end, so they'll leak out with him and do different things. Zay Flowers is a shifty guy. They can throw screens out to him. They can get him on crossing routes. He's kind of one of those dudes that's really quick, twitchy. And then you got Lamar Jackson, who throws a pretty deep ball. He also is dynamic in the read option. You got to look for that. And when all else fails, he can just pull it down and take off and run past everybody. So at every level of the field, they threaten you with something. So you could be doing great for 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 plays in a row, and then all of a sudden, one of those plays that you ain't really looking for is going to gas you. I think to me, I think the biggest thing is going to be, I'm going to say Mason Graham, because if I'm the Ravens, I'm going to have to make him a victim. I'm going to double team him. I'm going to see if he's going to have gap integrity. I want to see if his rush lanes, is he rushing too far out and Lamar Jackson takes off in the middle. I want to see how he handles getting double teamed, and then Derrick Henry is coming at you and you got to tackle him. I want to figure out what type of ball player he is, because if not, I ain't even worried about Myles Garrett. We'll take you out. We'll spread you out east and west, and we'll go right at the heart of the defense. Another thing is, too, I mean, that's where Carson Schlesinger is at. If Mason Graham is in his lap, it's kind of hard to get off blocks and make plays. So I'm going to say Mason Graham, but it's going to be a difficult task, especially when you're dealing with 2 different rookies, and they got the ability to have the eye candy out here, and you bite, like Dustin said. When you're a young player, you bite on a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, so those 2 rookies, I would go with Mason Graham to kind of follow the middle of the defense.
I think you're right, both you guys. The terrifying thing is, both are playing in their second NFL game against, as you said, one of the most dynamic and prolific offensive talents we've seen. So, man, you talk about welcome to the NFL.
Right.
I love talking to veterans and asking veterans, what was your welcome to the NFL moment? Every player has one. I think that they're both going to get their welcome to the NFL moments on Sunday. I'm not saying they're not up to it, but like you said, this is a monumental ask for 2 rookies starting their second games in the NFL.
Interestingly, though, in my mind, and the reason I've been looking at my phone for the last 2 minutes was not to ignore you guys, but in my mind, I was saying, I feel like the Browns have done well against Lamar in terms of limiting his runs. And I started looking through the game logs, and it's a little hard on the phone, but
I feel like you're right, though.
Earlier in his career, he had some big, 100-yard games rushing against the Browns. But and you see the numbers there, 747 yards in 13 games. If you look at the last 3 years, he's played against the Browns 5 times. He missed the game in 22, I believe. 2, 3, 4, yeah, in 22. So his last 5 games against the Browns, I think he only has, just trying to remember from what I just looked at, I want to say roughly 150, 160
combined
yards in the last 5 games, which is, for him, that's
They
not
bottled
good
him
at
up
all.
then.
So, yeah, I think the most he's had against them in his last 5 is either maybe 60 yards, maybe 64, or might have even been 59. He had a couple of games, although that's not really fair because there was one game where he only played a little bit. So really it's 4 games in the last 3 years and he had 100. That's 40 yards a game. If you hold Lamar to 40, 50 yards, I feel like you did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Because, he has some games where he's 80, 90, 100, 120, where he's just killing you the whole game.
In a lot of those games, or maybe in some of those games, he was the Ravens' run game early on. Now, Derrick Henry is their running game.
Right. His rushing yards against the Browns last year were they were fine, but they didn't blow your mind.
We've done well against Henry, too, haven't we?
Yeah,
I can remember putting a total lid on him.
Well, when he was in Tennessee 2 years ago, he had a terrible game.
Even, I think, against the Ravens.
I'll double check it while you guys talk.
I'm pulling it up right now, Jay. In his career against the Cleveland Browns,
look what
just
he's done
last
with
year.
Baltimore against us. I feel like one game, it was 9 yards for on 11 carries for 9 yards or something, and I could be misremembering
In
that.
7 games against the Browns in his career, he averages 56.4 yards.
That's a win.
And
Right,
that
but just
one,
look
that
at the
one Tennessee game was, I mean, he got completely bottled up.
Right.
Yeah, he got nothing.
Look at last year, Mike. What did he do?
And look, if you can hold him to 56 and Lamar to 40,
Yeah.
and they rush combined for under 100, I think you got a chance to win this game.
Well, yeah, I mean,
He had
better.
I mean, he was very good against Cleveland last year.
Okay, I'm remembering then the
He
Tennessee
had-
game where we locked him down.
Yeah.
In the first game last year, the one in which the Browns won, he had 11 carries for 73 yards and a touchdown. You could
Okay.
live with that. In the Week 17 matchup, or Week 18, 17
why do you only
game
get
of
it
the season,
11 times?
I know the Browns did not play a ton of starters end of the season, but he had 20 carries for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Was he going for a milestone in that game? Why would you?
I don't think so. Baltimore didn't have the 1 seed. They had to win to make the playoffs. They took
Well,
that
the
game
Browns
seriously,
not
the Browns.
playing. I mean,
Well,
the Browns,
they
they didn't purposely sit guys. Why would they purposely rest guys?
I don't know.
were
But
adamant.
what I was asking was, like, was he chasing 1,000 yards? Was he chasing something where
No,
he would,
no.
he's
finished-
getting a
I
personal
mean,
contract bonus?
He finished last season with 1,900 yards.
Yeah, so
no.
maybe they thought, hey, we could get him to 2,000.
Let's be clear, they ain't got no advantage. We parse some words here.
Yeah.
They ain't got.
They
Browns,
played against them that one game in Tennessee. They were great.
Yeah, locked him up.
to go against Lamar Jackson
Yeah.
and Derrick Henry is a nightmare. I don't
Yeah.
like. It's
Yeah,
just,
you're right.
Because what kills you is not the 90 yards. It's a 3rd and 5. Lamar Jackson gets out first down. Now you got to see him again for 3 more downs. It's like we got to find a way to get off the field, and this is going to be one of them Leroy games. The best way for the Browns defense to be helped or look good against the Ravens offense is for our offense to have some clock management.
Keep it 40 minutes.
We're not giving them the ball. When you keep somebody like Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow on the sideline, they get antsy.
I think that's a big part of the reason
and
why
pu-
the
and push.
Yes.
The reason the Browns played so well in the second half defensively is because I think Joe Burrow and the offense was completely out of rhythm because the Browns offense had the ball for those crazy long drives twice in the first. There were 2 times. There was a time in the 1 minute, end of the first quarter, the beginning of the second quarter, and then end of the game end of the first half through the beginning of the second half. Outside of 2 plays, the Bengals got the ball with 30 seconds left. I think Burrow went twice, 30 minutes and then 40 minutes without the ball. It's hard to stay in
that's a lot
rhythm
of
that
time.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
They had 1 first down in the second half.
Right. But I think part of the reason, obviously the Browns did great, but I think part of it was the offense ran the clock even without being able to really run the ball.
Well, their passing game is kind of an extended run game.
Yeah,
it's the 3 and 4 and 6 yard passes that kill you. It's like death by a million cuts.
They can. So I see what Jay's saying. Look, they can win. The Browns, the way they play, they can win. They just have to play when I used to watch Dustin knows this. One of the when you watch the championship team for O State back in the day, they would play so close to the vest that it was games where you they about to lose this game. They about to lose this game. But no, you know what they did? The punting game was crazy. They never missed no field goals. They got all the turnovers and they didn't turn the ball over. And they would get the rock, run it for 7 minutes. The other team was on the sideline. When you play that complimentary football and you sitting there and you're like, dang, they done milked this thing all the way down. We ain't getting no turnovers. And they got the points. You can win them, but you can't. You got to play that way consistently, and it has to be in your DNA. I'm willing to. Tressel probably hammered that home.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
We can't drop no footballs. We ain't put none of that. Special teams was starters played special teams. So yes, they can win, but they have to play a brand of football, which I think they have to do a better job of hammering home a little bit.
Yeah, and also you have to live on the edge. You just can't make a mistake.
Yeah,
You can keep the ball
margin
for
for
8
error
minutes,
is
but if
razor thin.
razor.
Browns got to play
Right.
a great game.
Almost
for
perfect,
this.
Bull.
Yeah.
I
No
feel like
doubt.
they had to. I felt the same thing going into Cincinnati. For them to win, I felt they had to play a perfect game. No missed kicks, no turnovers.
Right.
It came close, but
But
close
this
isn't
is
going
a
to do
better overall team, and it's on the road, so
Yeah.
it's even tougher.
God.
All right, guys, let's get to our last topic of the day. It's brought to us by 5 Hour Energy. It's time to fuel up and turn up with 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. The grape ginger lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost, perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5 Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5 Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. This does exclude the Masters. The offer ends on October 31st, 2025. All right, guys, the Guardians did something yesterday that they have done just 3 other times in the last 30 years. Slade Ciccone and Joey Cantillo went back-to-back starts of 8 innings without allowing a run. Jay, Bull, G, Dustin, can you name the other 3 combos that have done that in the last 30 years for the Guardians?
Kluber and Carrasco.
That is correct. In April of 2017.
CC and Cliff Lee.
No, sir.
The last 30 years.
That's a good guess, though.
Yeah,
Is Kluber and someone else up another part?
Kluber was only part of one of these.
Okay.
Bieber and Clevenger.
Bieber and somebody is another answer.
McKenzie.
Nope. Dang. I'll give you the month and the year. July of 2020.
2020.
Bieber and Plesac.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's a hell of a pool.
That is a great poll.
And then you have to
Out
go
of
back.
nowhere.
When you go to 2020,
I'm glad I didn't open my mouth.
Please, Zach.
You have to go back
How
to
about
2008.
Dennis Martinez and
Oral Hershiser.
and Oral?
No, 2008 is the last time.
Oh,
Almost-
2008.
So
Busted out
is
of Jeff and
Sabathia or
Masterson.
Lee one of them there? No.
One-
Sabathia.
Cliff Lee
no.
is-
Cliff
is on
Lee,
there.
Cliff
Cliff
Lee
Lee
and-
Paul Bird.
No.
No.
Paul Bird had some good outings,
Right,
man.
Sabathia
He
was
like
gone.
16-1 at
Yeah,
one
he
point.
was.
Cliff Lee and was Justin Masterson? Not yet, right?
No, who's the kid from Vandy? Tomlin? Josh Tomlin?
Nope.
No, he wasn't here yet.
Give
Jake
you-
Westbrook.
Give you 2 more guesses. Nope.
Westbrook. He had some great years here.
How about initials, Mike? Give us initials.
I'm going to tell you because it's
It's a crazy.
the artist formerly known as Fausto Carmo.
Oh, yeah.
You
We
didn't
would've
even
got
give
that.
Zach Meisel that credit for that
Yeah.
line. That was his line, Mike.
Yeah.
We have the tweet. Oh, we didn't take the tweet full. I'm literally reading off Zach's tweet. Sorry.
Fausto, we
yeah,
thought we
Zach
had-
put
we
that out.
thought
there.
we
Fausto. Yeah, well, he
But
turned out to be 4
Slade-
years older or something.
Yeah, I know.
Slade, Ciccone, and Cantillo joined Zach Plesac and Shane Bieber, Corey Kluber, and Carlos Carrasco, and Fausto Carmona and Cliff Lee as the only Cleveland starters to pitch back-to-back 8-inning, no-run games in consecutive days in the last 30 years. And, Jay, you mentioned off the top of the show, these young kids are stepping up in a big way, and the Guardians, who have now won 5 in a row, are still very much in the thick of the playoff race here.
Well, unfortunately, they haven't gained any ground because the Mariners,
No.
who had been struggling, have won 4 in a row.
You know how I
Texas
look
has
at
won
it, though,
4 in a
Bull?
row.
You're right.
Yeah.
But if you lose those,
Right, yeah.
You're like you're in a hole right now where you can't take on any more dirt. You
Right.
can't.
I mean, 2.5 games doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot with 18
And
games to go.
My point, I got into an argument with Nick Camino on air
Okay.
Monday about
Yeah.
this, or maybe on Tuesday. He was saying it doesn't matter that there's 4 teams in the race. You only have to make up 2.5 games. And I said, it very much matters. Of
course it matters.
Yes.
That's-
And he was like, no, it doesn't matter.
gotta pass
and I
2
said,
teams.
I said, it does matter. Let me tell you why. You don't have to just beat one team to pass them.
Yeah.
You have to beat and hope 3 other teams keep losing.
Yeah.
So
Well, right now it's only 2, but you got to beat. You can't just say it's 2.5 because Seattle could lose every game the rest of
That's
the season.
exactly right.
But if Texas goes
And
14-4,
that
then
doesn't even bring into the equation Kansas City and Tampa Bay
Right.
are nipping at their heels.
yeah, you're still paying
So,
attention to them. You're ahead of them now.
Here's
so
here's the way I was told to look at it by a researcher 20 years ago, and it was right. If there are 5 teams in the race and there's 1 spot, You're playing musical chairs.
Right.
4 are left standing.
Yeah.
The fight for that one chair isn't like you're just fighting one person for that chair. You're fighting 4 people for that chair.
Yeah,
It is
that's right.
so much more difficult with every team you throw into the race.
Especially if you don't play head-to-head.
Well, here's the
And
thing.
they don't play Texas. No,
They
wait,
do.
They play
Last
Texas. They don't play Seattle anymore.
Right, but here's the thing. Last series of the year is Texas-Cleveland, and you know who the Mariners play that weekend? The Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers haven't played great, but still, I'd rather
they're
them play.
still the Dodgers.
Yeah. So
That's weird. They're ending with
well, somebody has to.
I guess, always. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though, that it's Seattle and L.A.
Yeah. So the Guardians, listen, they played great against the Rays. They played great against the Royals. You got to take care of business, keep winning. Then you got 7
White Sox. Then
you got. By the way, I'll even give them a slim chance at the division, but they have to win. They have 6 games with the Tigers left.
They have to
They're
sweep.
8.5 out. Have to win all 6.
Yes.
Not even 5 out of 6. You got to win all 6.
And the Tigers looked pretty good last night.
Yeah, they're back on track. The Tigers are back on track. So they're almost. But you know what? You win all 6. You never know.
This is so interesting to me because we just had the conversation about whether or not the Browns can win anything.
Yeah.
Baseball is so different. We sit here with a 74-70 team, and we like, oh, yeah, we'll get involved there. Listen, anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, I think
you
in the
literally
NFL,
have
though,
a shot. That's crazy.
But in the NFL, it's possible
doing
that
the
a
same
9-8
thing.
gets in.
If the Browns were 7-7, you don't think we'd be talking about them
we
going to
would
the playoffs? We certainly would.
Hell yeah.
But I guess you
Well,
got
we're talking
one
about
team.
the Guardians maybe winning the whole thing if they got in. Like, the Guardians don't have to have someone play quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
That's crazy. Like the level, like you
Wild card teams have won the Super Bowl, though.
You
Yeah.
can squint your eyes and be like, well, listen.
I can't see the Guardians win.
That's what we do.
I mean,
That's
I
what we
can't
do.
see the Guardians winning the whole thing, even if they make
I
it.
can't
but
either.
You never know. Crazier things
You know
have
what?
happened.
It's like what I said earlier, Bull.
Yeah.
I'm especially when it comes to baseball.
Yeah.
I'm definitely smart enough to know that this team cannot win the World Series. However, give me a Saturday afternoon in early October at
Right.
Progressive Field with the tension that a playoff game brings. It's about the experience, not the destination.
That's
always.
true. I agree with
and
that.
That's why I say that's why I make the analogy with the football team.
Yeah.
We're not going to win the Super Bowl. We're likely not going to go to the playoffs. Give me a couple of moments during the regular season.
Especially when it's unexpected.
Yeah,
And
I
kind of wrote the Guardians off,
think
and now I've
everybody
got a little
did.
juice for them again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I've written them
that's
off
good.
twice.
Yeah, and so now, like, if the Guardians don't make the playoffs, okay, well, that's what we kind of expected for a while. But if they do,
we had moments in September that mattered.
that's right.
And it's about
you
the
never know.
experience.
If you ask me right now, I had to bet my entire salary for a year on do the Guardians win the World Series or the Browns win the Super Bowl. I'd bet on the Guardians.
Oh, well, of course I would too.
The ironic part about it is the Guardians are doing what we asked the Browns to do. They're playing young guys. You see? Look, it isn't that
Well,
bad.
they're playing who they have.
That's the thing. Like, it just so happens that they got 2 chips taken off the board, and Ortiz and what's his name? Clase.
Yeah.
So now you're like, oh wow, look at this.
I didn't like Manzardo being on the bench again yesterday, but he's playing more often now.
I know.
He's playing almost every day now.
But you know what I'll say is, and this I think came through. By the way, I thought Cantillo was fantastic.
Amazing.
But I thought Slade 2 nights ago was just as good. Like, Bull.
Yeah.
He takes a no-hitter into the 8th inning, gives up the hit, which was a clean hit. I would much rather it be that. Then he gets the double play. He gets out of it. What I loved was when he left the field, he got a standing ovation, as did the yesterday. Cantillo did. He took his cap off and he acknowledged the crowd, and you could hear the decibel level in the stadium go up because they were responding in kind of that. Oh, look, he's recognizing us.
Yeah.
Last night when Joey came out, he didn't do that. And it's such a small gesture. But I bring all of that up to say this.
Yeah.
These are guys that are pitching way above what I think they are, but it's contagious. Yesterday, Slade said, there isn't a man in this clubhouse that doesn't think that we can go to the playoffs.
Right.
Not one man.
Yeah.
And I feel like sometimes these young kids can energize things. And I think that could happen with the Browns if they play well. Not only are they contributing with what they're doing on the field, the vets see that. The vets see a rookie come off and do this. And then tell the media after the game, can we win it? Yeah, we can win it. Every man in that clubhouse believes we can win it. That can be contagious.
I agree with what you're saying. I disagree that they're I think Ciccone actually is very talented. I mean, he was a first-round pick. Now, he's wildly inconsistent.
Well,
and he's got a lot to learn about being a pitcher, obviously.
yeah, he had a stretch there where he had dead
It's
arm.
terrible. Yeah, you're right.
But you know what was interesting?
Yeah.
I was looking last night at the innings pitched by all their pitch. They're all at career highs.
Yeah.
All of their pitchers
because
have
they
been
baby
used.
them so much.
I know, but the interesting thing about that, Bull, is dead arm is a real thing. I've gotten it. I've worked through it. You'd think that, oh my God, I've got something internally that's wrong. I'll never be good again this year. But you get through that fatigue, and it was great watching Slade work through that fatigue and then come back and look like Cy Young the other night.
Yeah,
he was fantastic.
I think there's really good stuff there. I'll tell you this about Joey Cantillo, and I've never thought much of him.
Oh, his changeup last night.
But I'll tell you, this guy, every time they send him to the minors and say, work on this, he comes back and and you could tell that he worked on it.
Yeah.
His last 4 starts, he's made 4 starts since August, 24 1/3 innings, 3 earned runs, 16 hits, and 1 home run allowed. He has been lights out. I love that he's a lefty. That always gives you an advantage. I think he may end up being a better pitcher than we all thought. I'm not saying he's not going to be a star. He's not going to be elite. But he might end up being a real solid middle-of-the-rotation guy going forward.
I'm not sure he can't be elite because I think he has one elite pitch.
Yeah, I mean,
that
maybe.
That changeup, Bull, he was...
Yeah, it's nasty.
It was unhittable last night.
It's nasty, and he's worked on his command, like throwing strikes.
Yeah.
He was so efficient yesterday with his pitches. It was good to see. You know, they're still not hitting much outside of Jose and
Well, the last 2
Manzardo,
they have. I mean,
they scored 2 runs yesterday.
Yeah, I know, but the night before they had, 7 doubles?
Yeah.
So, you know what? They faced a good pitcher. He pitched really well last night.
Cameron's been really good for them. By the way, the Guardians only have 2 players. Only Ramirez and Manzardo have more than 11 home runs.
And they're the only 2 that are hitting over 235.
Yeah. Well, there's only 7 guys in the majors hitting over 300.
No, Quan and Ramirez are the only 2. When I looked the other day, they were the only 2 hitting over 230.
There's only 7 players in the majors hitting 300 or better right now.
Different game of baseball.
Yeah.
Guys, it's time for Super Chats now.
7?
Before we get to Super Chats,
And 4
Bull
of them
and
are
Zach
303
did an
or
Ultimate
lower.
Guardian show this morning. I did an Ultimate Cavs show. That's on our YouTube page. Super Chats today are brought to us by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the App Store. Are you ready to play? If you are, download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com/UCSS to get started. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS to place your first $5 bet. All right, we got a bunch of Super Chats. First one comes from Salvatore, the 216. It's for Dustin. Dustin, what do you have against boxing? This isn't a good fight for us. This is a good fight for us real fight fans. Jake Paul doesn't represent the sport.
Oh, because yesterday I said the Canelo
Who cared
fight.
about the Crawford-Canelo fight?
I have nothing against boxing. Boxing's a great sport. It's actually a phenomenal sport, but it just hasn't been. And Adam, you can jump in on this. It hasn't been much of anything since we lost having big time heavyweights.
I agree.
We're Americans.
I still love it, but America doesn't.
It's become a niche sport now,
Right.
Yeah,
unlike
it is.
it was. I mean, when you and I were kids, especially.
Massive.
I mean, it was huge.
Massive.
When Mike Tyson was fighting,
Those were events.
Buster Douglas.
we ordered everybody would
You know
get
what?
together.
They became Super Bowl Sundays. You had 50
Holyfield.
friends over and you
Yeah.
ordered 8 pizzas.
Yeah.
I don't think I've given a, and I totally respect these boxers.
Oh, yeah.
If you've ever seen a boxing match in person,
Oh, my God.
it's
So
another.
violent.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's the biggest
It's like
change.
it's like they're hitting each other with sledgehammers. That's what it looks like in person.
To listen to it.
Yeah.
Like one average body blow that looks like nothing on
Yes,
TV
is.
against the average human being would drop them in an instant.
It's amazing. For me, I'm not interested.
I love it.
loved it when I was a kid.
I love it, but you know,
Yeah.
at the turn of the century in 1900, the 2 favorite sports of America were overwhelmingly
Cycling.
boxing and horse racing.
And then you used to have cycles.
Boxing, it was boxing, baseball, and horse racing the first half of the 20th century.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're right.
All right, next Super Chat comes from Halim, who says, Bull, just answer the question. That was to our first topic where you were being a jerk to me, according to Halim. We love Halim. Next, Ben Thompson says, per NFL personal conduct policy, once a player declares for the draft, they can be suspended from the NFL.
Okay.
Not the exact same thing, but similar situation with Terrell Pryor in 2011, who had a 5-game suspension prior to the draft.
Okay.
Bill Rodewalt says, since 2018, The Browns have split the season series with the Ravens every year but 2021.
They're divisional games. They're always hard
Makes a
fought.
difference. Reggie the Bug Glover says, call Leroy delusional for getting the 12 wins. James Mace Jr. said, Bart Scott once said, anyone can be beat. 24-21 Browns, that's my pick.
By the way, Leroy did not predict
No, he
the
said
Browns.
if they play like they did Sunday.
Yeah, which
and
is
that's
a lot
like,
to
you know,
ask.
if my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike.
Yeah, I mean, yes, if
It's
the
a big
Browns, if the Browns defense especially plays like it did Sunday, they're gonna have a chance to win a lot more games than we thought.
That's
Sure.
true.
Yeah.
So I mean, the bridge too far is that they're going to play that way every week.
Let's see where they're at the quarter pole in terms of the defense. If the defense at the quarter bowl is playing at that level, I think we're all going to change our predictions in terms of total wins.
I agree.
DB Dog 21. We have Bernie in studio tomorrow. This is about Bernie. Says, love Bernie. No Ring of Honor. Diabolical work. Shaking my head.
He's not in the Ring of Honor?
Nasty
No,
work.
I ripped him last week for the fact that he wasn't in the Ring of Honor.
How did I not even realize that? That's a disgrace.
When I
he's
did
not.
the same thing. When I found out, I was just like,
what?
totally,
Yeah, no,
like,
I
perplexed.
ripped the Browns on the show last week or 2 weeks ago.
I missed
2
that.
weeks ago. I
well,
ripped
you're
them.
right for doing that. It's a disgrace.
But here's also I want to just let you guys know. You probably saw this, but his father passed.
Yeah.
Leave over the weekend.
oh, I did not see that.
So
Ah,
like
shit.
I won't be here, but
Yeah.
we definitely would want to. And Bernie and his dad had a very complicated relationship, but a very close relationship, and so he's kind of reeling from that right now.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers about the Bernie and
more
his
text, bro.
entire family. Stephen Allen Spencer says Flacco helps you evaluate the rest of the roster. Dragon the Abandoner says you don't punt on a season for a late round quarterback. Miss Bell 70
Dylan
says
Gabriel, by the way, is not a late round quarterback. He's a third round quarterback.
No, but I
It's not
think
late.
what he was saying, Bull, because I thought of this when Shaun was talking about that. Usually that's what you do when you have the first or second overall pick at quarterback. Like you see the
I hear
teams
ya.
turn the page in a hurry in those situations.
I hear you.
We don't have one of those guys.
I get it. From a heart perspective, it's hard to talk you out of it. I get what Shaun was saying.
Right.
I think you do wait a little longer on it. Though.
From a competitive content standpoint, you can understand why people wouldn't want to talk about putting.
I
guys
get
in
it.
at this
I
point.
get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially to the who's going to tell Myles Garrett. I know you almost beat Cincinnati, bro, but we're going with Dylan Gabriel.
Don't you think Miles and Joel kind of know what they're? I mean, they
And
know.
by the way, they know
They
what it
do,
is.
but
Yeah.
also, I mean, they want to
I
play
hear you.
meaningful football.
They would like
wanna-
to go to the playoffs if possible.
They would love
you
that.
know.
For sure.
All right, next super chat's from Miss Bell 70, who says the Browns will lose every game before they play Shador to save face. Gabriel ain't safe. Bull, this is what coming to Cleveland to die looks like.
Jeez, that's very morbid.
Wow.
She's a Sanders fan, not a Browns
Did
fan.
I may be misremembering this? I thought I saw someone's report. May have been Diane Racine.
talked
Yeah,
about
we
it
talked
yesterday.
about it.
Okay,
yesterday.
where she basically said that
I don't know what she said that we talked about yesterday. That was really not news. I don't.
No, I didn't understand why it was news either.
Yeah.
But other
Yeah.
than the fact that someone is reporting it out loud that it was coming from the Browns.
All right,
I think
next
that's
super
news.
chat. Dion Flores says, we got to stop talking about Baker. It should always have been Josh Allen. Always take the bigger, stronger quarterback. James Mace Jr. says, if Arch is like Josh Allen, I want him next year immediately. Jay, I'm 41 and a lifelong Browns fan. Am I doomed?
Yes.
And Reggie the Bug Glover says, I'm 53, been a Browns fan for all of it. I will never surrender. Keep your flag strong.
They had a
Never
boy.
surrender.
They had a boy.
DB Dog 21 says, watch a ton of Ravens all 22. Their read option is deadly, but it can be limited. Tell your defensive ends to ignore the backside pursuit and spy Lamar every time.
Is that right? I haven't seen it.
Good
all.
luck with that.
Would that work?
That would work if you didn't have to tackle Derrick Henry if you faking the ball to him.
Yeah.
So if you don't pursue, they're going to hand the ball off and he's
I know it really is a pick your poison with that. I feel like.
And they have the best pass catching skill group they've ever had with him.
Yeah, they're good.
Although Isaiah
They're good
Likely, I don't
offense.
think is going to play again
They're
this
good.
week.
Josh says, you got to start paying attention to Baylor's Sawyer
parse
Robertson.
of that.
859 yards, 7
Yeah.
touchdowns, no picks.
Has anybody seen him? I haven't
159.4
seen him, but I looked at his numbers. The Baylor quarterback.
McShay loves him.
I mean, who cares about those numbers? They obviously played a joke school, right?
No, they played Auburn and SMU so far.
Yeah. I mean,
that's 2 games combined.
They came back on SMU. They were down fourth quarter.
And I haven't seen him play, so I'm not going to speak on him. But I looked at what he's done on paper, and I'm like, damn. It's not against schleps.
Right.
My tier dude, I thought I was going to keep quiet on that one.
My boy's the OC at Baylor.
I got a minute left, and I got like 8 to get to, so let me run through these. Sabato 216 says, I'm scarred like Jay, no team, white flag. Brian Wagner says, I got to know where G. Bush got that Guardians hat at. G, do you know?
Underground Railroad.
Underground Railroad.
You got to talk to
You
Harriet.
got to know Harriet Tubman to get one of those.
Kirk Davis wants to know if we can keep Mary Kay on until Super Chats. Unfortunately, Mary Kay has to run before we get to Super Chats, Kirk. Kirk also wants to know, barbershop on Saturday, G, you doing it?
Yes, sir. 9
Bo,
o'clock.
quick fantasy question. Samson or Kamara or Bucky Irving?
Come on, don't get crazy now. Kamara 1, Bucky Irving 2, Samson 3.
That's it.
Mr. I. Crappen Schmitz says, and he said he'd play on Andre Schmidt. It's time for the Browns to hire a kicking coach, maybe Phil Dawson. And the last thing, Triz says, best thing for Browns is to draft 2 first-round offensive linemen for next year. Those are Super Chats. We'll see you in overtime here in
Quick
3
joke
minutes.
that was sent to me. It says, are you a Browns fan? There was a